Good afternoon. My name is Kiana Richardson, co-manager of FTW Footwear, along with Robert Frank and Stephen Cox. I bring you here today to discuss For the Win Footwear and review the results we've achieved in our industry over the past 7 years in the business strategy. To start off with the background of our company, FTW Footwear is a leading athletic footwear company with operations in North America, Latin America, Europe, Africa, and Asia Pacific. Our company's strategic vision states, FTW Footwear strives to save people money while meeting the go-to everyday footwear needs of the global consumer. The company endeavors to be the universal low-cost leader of value footwear that is appealing to customers worldwide. FTW Footwear will provide value through quality manufacturing processes, efficient distribution methods, and everyday low prices, including direct customer, wholesale, and private label markets. Our shoes make customers grin for the win. Our initial strategy for North America in the wholesale segment was to be the overall low-cost leader not only in North America, but across all 4 regions. We agreed to focus on the North America region with the wholesale segment, as North America had many favorable attributes including tariff-free movement between North America and Latin America, no import tariffs with footwear made in Europe, Africa, or Asia Pacific, and very favorable exchange rates. Even though year 11 didn't contain exchange rates adjustments, we wanted to have a good base plan to use for the forthcoming years. Initiating new construction was one of our top priorities. We knew North America region was a region we wanted to heavily develop, and being able to produce more in that region only made sense. Our team wanted to sign Oprah Beyonce for year 11 due to her high appeal in all regions, but especially the North American region, and the support the company would receive from her endorsements. Our results for year 11 gave us very low rank, and we did not achieve the desired results we originally bargained for. Some factors leading to this outcome included our competition producing their shoes for relatively comparable cost to ours, but at a much higher price point. Our group lowered prices from year 10 by about $6 in an attempt to play out our low-cost strategy. This allowed competition to get more per sale. Most companies in the industry had a similar strategy, as you can see by looking at our strategic group map. The circles are relatively close in both size and location. Team H came out on top, but didn't hold the spot very long, followed by Team I, who would soon be one of our closest competitors. Our group F is not seen in the strategic group map, as it is covered by our competition. Our main hindrance in year 11 was a huge loss from stockouts of 494 pairs in North America. This negative value meant that we did not have enough shoes for sale in the region, therefore minimizing our market share in sales in the region in the North American segment. We did manage to sign Oprah Beyonce in our attempt to gain maximum image ratings, along with earnings per share of 2.57 and a market share of 11.9. Jumping to our last year in the game, we had consistently been near the top after our previous year's plan execution. The margin between the top 4 teams was extremely close, and we didn't have much room for error. Due to a mistake we took in our first year, we needed to buy back our maximum stock to regain competition edge. Our low-cost leadership had taken us this far, but we needed to increase our prices this final round to gain more profit. Competition was higher in both price and quality, so our main strategy was to create a shoe with an SQ rating of 7 and keep the price at our competitors' SQ 6 amount. Along with this, we increased advertising by $16 million, our highest amount game to date, and opted for an early repayment on a loan. We raised our price per pair in North America up $3 from year 6 to $49.98. Year 17 was the best year for FTW Footwear. We tied in first place with the industry winner for the year, and we placed second overall. The overall industry winner was Team C, JMR Footwear, who had been in the number 1 spot for a vast majority of the game. They also held the key role for us changing our strategy in the last year. Their strategy consisted of a much higher product line breadth and higher quality ratings. Team C was always quick to snatch up any excess capacity that was sold as soon as the results became available. Although we were hesitant in making a change against our norm for the final year, our increase in prices combined with the increase in quality really paid off. Although we did have a slight loss from stockouts in North America of 166, it didn't give much effect on our bottom line since we had a much higher number of products offered. We ended with a market share of 12.2%, earnings per share of 8.93, and 34.7 return on equity, which was the highest in our industry. Looking at the year 17 strategic group map, Group F is right in the middle for both price and SQ rating, along with product breadth. There was a much larger separation this year in the map that showed that each team decided on different strategies for their individual companies. Overall, during the years of production, FTW Footwear had an increasing trend in net revenue. Aside from year 17, due to increased advertising and lower cost per pair combined with the quality when compared to our competition. From year 10 to year 17, we had an increase in net revenue of $272 million. Our greatest year in terms of net revenue was year 16, with net revenues of $546 million, and our largest jump in net revenue occurred between year 12 and year 13, with a drop in price of $550 per pair, an increase in advertising of $8 million, and zero effects from stockouts.
I am Robert Frank, and I will discuss our pricing and quality strategy and outcomes for the North American market, followed by a discussion on our return on equity and the progress of our stock pricing. We desire to be a low-cost, high-volume leader from the onset and initially targeted what we believe to be a minimally acceptable quality rating of 5 in our wholesale market and 4 in our private label market. With that, we set our prices low from the onset and set the pace with being $5 lower than our nearest competitors. Of course, this had a significant impact on demand, and we fell short with stockouts in the first year. We followed with a continued policy of low price and high volume, learning from the stockouts from year 1. Subsequently, we were the price leader 4 of the 7 years and a close third in 2 of those other years. We also decided we wanted to keep our model line up diverse, but not overly broad, and decided offering 200 models created the right mix of variety to get the most out of our strategy. Our internet pricing was initially set high as we wanted to build a strong base and relationship with our wholesale market and didn't want the internet sales to be overly competitive. We did initially offer free shipping, which provided some incentive for purchase. Additionally, in the beginning, we only offered half of our models online, which projections indicated would enhance our wholesale efforts. The market quality ratings started to trend up in later years, and in response, we felt the lowest acceptable rating was 6 in year 16, and our private label standard also increased to 5. We continue to target the lowest price for the market with the increased quality by squeezing the most efficient use of quality tools and materials. In year 17, we realized a higher quality rating of 7 proved to have much higher return projections than staying at 6, so we shifted to a 7 rating in the final year, which also made our production more towards a best cost product. For our return on equity, we met investor expectations in all but 1 year and had a long-term strategy to increase ROE over time. ROE measures profit and efficiency, and we desire to be a very efficient operation given our strategy to be the low-price leader. In year 14, we worked to recapitalize on our initial stock issue in year 11, which made the initial building cost a little easier, but hurt our overall ROE and value of the company. As you know, a rising ROE indicates our company is increasing its ability to generate profit without needing as much capital while utilizing the capital available through shareholders. We were pleased with the long-term results on ROE, where our improved debt position and profit margins raised our ROE consistently from years 14 through 17 at the rate of 133%. This showed we did a good job of using our shareholders' equity for the betterment of the company with a year 17 ROE of 34.7%. Our stock price steadily increased from year 10 to year 13, including an issuance of 3,000 shares of stock in year 11. This facilitated the expansion in the Latin American market. We later realized this was not the best move and were able to sell our production in Latin America and decided to recapitalize in year 14, so our productivity was designed around this adjustment. Our stock price dropped significantly in year 14, but only as a momentary pause. We were able to buy back this significant amounts of stock over the next few years, getting us down to just over 8,000 shares of stock. The resulting efforts in recapitalization, production, quality, and marketing drove a marked and consistent increase in stock price from year 14 to year 11 to the tune of 280% and over $150 per share.
Hello, my name is Stephen Cox. I'm the co-manager of FTW for the Win Footwear. And the first topic I would like to discuss is our approach to the 3-year strategic plan. which encompass the operational years 15, 16, and 17 of the business strategy game. We anticipated to close the competition on a strong level, but we also anticipated that competitive measures from rival firms would increase. So when we set our projections, we wanted to make sure that they were realistically attainable. So with that in mind, we set our EPS to grow at a modest rate of 10% year over year. We set our ROE at 18% annually. We set our stock price to grow at 10% annually. We set our credit rating to grow incrementally from an A- to an A+, and we set our image rating at 84 per year. Had we met all of these original projections, our score on the exercise would have been a 93. As you can see, the actual results of our 3-year strategic plan were slightly less than that. We ended up with a score of 91.3. This was due to us not meeting the credit rating projections in years 16 and 17, and that was mainly due to our continued heavy borrowing in those years to maximize our stock buyback. The results of our 3-year plan, we met all of our projections in all of these metrics: EPS, ROI, stock price, and image rating. The only metric that we failed to meet was year 16 and 17 of the credit rating that I already discussed. Our takeaways from the 3-year plan: as we did through much of this competition, we had a tendency to overestimate the competitive efforts on the part of rival firms in our industry, and that caused us to underestimate our own performance during the 3-year plan. The next topic is an analysis of a competitive firm in our industry. For this, we chose Team IJAX. I'm going to refer to them as Team I from now on. And we picked this team for a couple of reasons. Number one, they were a solid competitor throughout the competition. We were in a highly competitive industry, and they ended up placing 3rd overall in the game to date, just behind us and the first place team, Team C. We also chose them because their initial competitive strategy very closely mirrored the one that we chose. And we knew that because they were the only other team in the industry that initiated construction of a new production facility in Latin America in the very first year of the competition. They were also the only team in the competition to lower their prices across the board. So we felt that they were trying to compete on a low-cost, low-price competitive basis against rival firms, which is exactly what we were trying to do. The next 3 slides, I chose some specific strategic decisions that they made in each year, and I documented those on a year-by-year basis. For the sake of brevity, I'm not going to go over each of those. I would just like to comment generally. We noticed a trend in their decision-making. It seemed that they made individual decisions that were slightly out of alignment or slightly disjointed from their overall strategy, and there didn't seem to be a lot of cohesion from year to year with the decisions that they were making, which led me to believe that they were perhaps a little confused and a little disjointed with how to accomplish their strategy. And I think I can illustrate that best with this set of metrics that I extrapolated from the data. This is a side-by-side comparison of our performance against Team I. Our results are shaded in blue, and theirs are in that sort of light orange color. Each year is represented by a column across the top, and then these selected metrics are in the rows out to the left side. I want to call your attention first to this last metric, which is the place in the industry year by year. And you'll see that in years 12 and 14, Team I actually was the industry champion for those 2 years. And there's a high correlation between that performance, and if you move up a couple of metrics here, the private label units sold, those 2 years, year 12 and year 14, they happen to have the highest percentage of the market share in private label shoe sales. But then they followed those up, strangely enough, in years 13 and year 15 by almost completely exiting the private sale sector altogether. So again, their decision-making was a little bit disjointed. There was no reason for them to change course after having won the competition for that year, but they chose to do so anyway. So our conclusion on their strategy, they were very successful at building out their operation. They achieved economies of scale by expanding into Latin America and making that a center for their production. But they showed an unwillingness to sacrifice their margins to compete with us as the low price leader. We were the low price leaders throughout the competition. And the last point that I want to discuss is the lessons that we learned from this competition. These two are on their own slide because I feel like these were our biggest mistakes during the competition. The first one is that we issued 3 million additional shares of stock to finance our construction of our new plant. That was a big mistake, and it took us several years to correct it. The other one is that our new plant, we did not go big enough. We only went with a 1 million pair capacity in that plant, which did not allow us to achieve economies of scale. Some additional lessons: buy back stock in down years when you can purchase it at a discounted rate. Focus your attention on what is best for your company rather than on anticipating the strategies of rival firms. Invest in endeavors that increase the efficiency of your operations and reduce average costs. But above all else, do not be afraid to admit when a strategy is not working. It takes a humble and courageous leader to recognize that he or she is wrong and take the necessary corrective measures. And I think that we did very well on that point. We were not afraid to admit when one of our strategies was not working and to reformulate and go back to the drawing board. So that concludes our presentation. I hope that you learned something from it. Thank you for your time.